Giants appear in stories from every culture. We see them as the Titans in Greek myths, Jotuns from Norse sagas, the Kinametsin from Native American legends, and even in modern urban tales like the Giant of Kandahar who fought American soldiers. They stand as towering figures, larger than life, both feared and admired. The Bible, too, speaks of giants. Among them are the mysterious NEPHILIM, a race said to have ruled the earth in the days before the Great Flood, and their presence became one of the main reasons God chose to cleanse the earth with water. And here is something many do not know. The NEPHILIM are closely tied to angels and demons. Born from forbidden unions, their spirits after death became restless, turning into the demons that still haunt mankind today. Their destruction in the flood was not the end of their story. It was only the beginning of a mystery that still lingers in scripture and tradition, raising deeper questions about who they were and what secrets about God's justice and the unseen world they continue to hide. Let's find out. What is a Nephilim? The story of the Nephilim begins in one of the shortest and most mysterious passages of Scripture found in Genesis 6:1-4. It describes a time when human population grew and daughters were born to men. The sons of God saw these women and took them as wives, and from this union came the Nephilim. The text calls them the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. It is only a few sentences long, but it has left a mark on centuries of Jewish and Christian thought. The Nephilim are described as living before the Great Flood and even after, and their presence is closely tied to the corruption that filled the world. Their story is part of the reason God chose to cleanse the earth with water. Later, in Numbers 13:33, the Israelites who spied out the land of Canaan returned with a fearful report. We saw the Nephilim there, the descendants of Enoch, and we seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. That description shows just how terrifying these beings were. The Israelites felt like insects standing before their massive size, but how exactly did they come into existence? From ancient times, two main explanations have been offered. The first is the most dramatic. Many believe that the sons of God in Genesis were heavenly beings, angels who abandoned their place in heaven and came down to earth. These angels, often called watchers, looked upon human women with desire. When they took them as wives, their children were the Nephilim. This made the Nephilim a hybrid race, part human and part angelic, with unnatural strength and knowledge. Ancient writings outside the Bible, such as the Book of Enoch and the Book of Giants, expand on this view. They tell how the Watchers taught forbidden secrets to humanity, how to forge weapons, practice sorcery, and read the stars. The Nephilim, their children, grew violent and devoured everything around them. This explains why the world became so corrupt so quickly and why God's judgment by the flood was unavoidable. In this telling, the Nephilim are the visible fruit of angelic rebellion, proof of what happens when heaven's order is broken. The second explanation is less supernatural, but still sobering. In this view, the sons of God were not angels, but the descendants of Seth, Adam's righteous son. The daughters of man were the descendants of Cain, whose line was already marked by violence and pride. When the Sethite men married the Cainite women, the result was the loss of holiness and the rise of corruption. The Nephilim in this case are not angel-human hybrids, but powerful men whose strength and influence grew because the faithful compromised with the unfaithful. They became giants in wickedness, men of renown, for their violence, not for their righteousness. This interpretation avoids the idea of angels marrying humans, but it makes the same point. When God's people blend with the ways of the world, evil multiplies. Both views, though different in detail, agree on the central truth. The Nephilim were a sign that boundaries set by God had been broken. And while some continue to defend the Seth Cain view, it is the first explanation, the Nephilim as the offspring of fallen angels, that has gained the wider support over time, for it seems to match more closely the depth of corruption and the scale of judgment described in scripture and tradition, which we will explore deeper in the next section. What did the Nephilims come from? The story of the Watchers begins not with rebellion, but with a mission. In ancient Jewish tradition, drawn from books like Jubilees and the fragments known as the Book of Giants, God did not originally send these heavenly beings to bring ruin. Their calling was noble. They were dispatched from heaven to guide mankind, to teach humans how to live uprightly, how to worship the Creator with proper rituals, and how to walk in justice on the earth. They were meant to be guardians, examples of obedience, lights shining from heaven to guide a world still young and unsteady. But the Watchers did not keep their place. When they came down to earth, they looked upon the daughters of men. They saw beauty, they felt desire, and they abandoned their holy charge. Instead of teaching mankind holiness, they broke God's boundary and took human women as wives. From these forbidden unions came a new and terrible race, the Nephilim, giants that towered over ordinary men. These children of heaven and earth were not gentle rulers. They were violent, destructive, and hungry. Their sheer size made them terrifying, but their hearts were even darker. The Watchers fell deeper into rebellion. They were not content to break God's command in secret. They began to pour out hidden knowledge into human hands. They revealed to their wives and children the secrets of heaven, things that were never meant for mortals. They taught men how to forge weapons of war from iron, how to use metals for killing instead of farming. They showed them charms and spells, opening doors to sorcery. They spread knowledge of the stars and the movement of the heavens, but twisted it into astrology, teaching men to trust in signs rather than in God. What was holy they made common, and what was meant for God's glory they turned into tools of pride and rebellion. The Nephilim, born of this corruption, spread terror across the earth. They were giants not only in size but in appetite. Ancient writings say they began to devour all that mankind produced, and when food ran out, they turned to devouring mankind itself. They filled the land with blood, their roars echoed in valleys, their shadows darkened cities, and everywhere they went, fear followed. The earth, scripture says, was filled with violence, and the Nephilim stood at the heart of it. In the middle of this darkness stands one figure, Enoch, the seventh from Adam, a man who walked with God. When word reached him of the deeds of the Watchers and the destruction caused by their children, his heart was heavy. He prayed not only for men, but even for the fallen Watchers themselves. He stood as an intercessor, pleading with God to show mercy. And God, in his long-suffering, listened. He gave Enoch a message to deliver. Enoch was told to preach repentance. If the Watchers and their children turned from their ways, perhaps wrath could be delayed. God even went further. He gave the giants warnings through dreams. Two giant brothers, Oyah and Hayah, awoke shaken by visions they could not understand. They saw images of a great flood, of trees uprooted, of mountains swallowed, of destruction that no giant strength could resist. Alarmed, They gathered their companions, other giants and their watcher fathers, and told them what they had seen. Confusion spread. What could these dreams mean? Was there any hope for them? Desperate for answers, they chose a messenger. His name was Mahweh, himself a giant, son of the Watchers. He was sent to find Enoch, for they knew he was a prophet, a man who walked so closely with God that he had access to heavenly wisdom. Mahweh journeyed far to reach him, through lands broken by the deeds of the giants. When he found Enoch, he bowed before him and pleaded for an oracle. "Tell us," he begged, "what these dreams mean. Speak to us what heaven has decided." Enoch did not refuse. He listened, and then he returned with not only a spoken message, but with 2 stone tablets. Upon them were written the interpretation of the dreams and the future judgment of God. The meaning was clear. The Watchers had sinned beyond measure. Their children, the giants, had become instruments of violence and corruption. The earth could no longer bear their weight. God's decree was final. Destruction would come. A flood would wash over the world, cleansing it of the corruption of the Watchers and the Nephilim. This was their last chance. Mercy had been offered. Warning had been given. Dreams had been sent. A prophet had spoken. Tablets of judgment had been delivered into their hands. Everything was laid before them. But when the Watchers and their sons heard the message, pride rose higher than fear. Rather than repent, they raged. Rather than humble themselves, they clenched their fists against heaven. The giants mocked the warnings. The Watchers hardened their hearts. They chose defiance over mercy. Their end came swiftly. God decreed that the Watchers would be bound and cast into the abyss, chained in darkness until the final judgment. Their offspring, the Nephilim, would not escape either. The great flood rose, waters covering the mountains, and the towering bodies of the giants were swept away like straw in the current. The race that once shook the earth with footsteps was silenced under the weight of the waters. Yet the story did not end with their death. Ancient tradition says that when the Nephilim perished, their spirits lingered. No longer clothed in flesh, they became restless, roaming the earth as demons, tormenting mankind, whispering lies, seeking to carry on the rebellion of their fathers. The Watchers were chained, but their children's spirits remained, a shadow of that ancient corruption still present in the world. The fall of the Watchers and the destruction of the Nephilim is more than a tale of giants. It is a story of boundaries crossed, of holy missions abandoned, of warnings rejected, and of judgment poured out. It shows how far creation can fall when it turns from God, and how patient yet firm His justice is. They were given a task to guide mankind, but they chose instead to corrupt it. They were given a prophet's warning, but they chose pride. And in the end, their strength could not shield them. Their knowledge could not save them, and their defiance could not withstand the floodwaters of God's judgment. How do they look? The ancient traditions go further than the brief biblical passages, painting a picture of the Nephilim that is both terrifying and tragic. Some writings describe their size as almost beyond imagination. They were said to reach 300 cubits in height, nearly 180 meters tall, towering like mountains over valleys and cities. To picture such beings is to imagine shadows that swallowed the sun and footsteps that shook the ground like earthquakes. Their size alone would have made them unforgettable, but what marked them most was not just their height, but their violence. They were divided, according to ancient stories like the Book of Giants and the Book of Jubilees, into three great classes: the Nephilim, the Nephil, and the Eljo. Each of these tribes of giants carried the same curse of their origin, and their power turned inward as well as outward. It is said that the Nephilim killed the Nephil killed the Eljo, and the Eljo turned upon mankind. It was a spiral of destruction, a cycle of blood in which no one was safe, not even among their own kind. Instead of unity, there was constant war. Instead of strength used to protect, there was endless hunger for domination. Their violence consumed the earth, and even the land itself groaned under the weight of their sin. Crops failed, cities trembled, and people lived in fear of being devoured by creatures so large that human armies were like ants before them. In this chaos, the giants became symbols of what happens when power is divorced from righteousness, when strength is guided by nothing but pride and appetite. The Bible does not linger on these details, but the memory of the Nephilim lived on. Generations after the flood, the Israelites would still whisper of giants, and when they entered Canaan, they were haunted by the report of spies who claimed that Nephilim still roamed the land. One figure in particular seemed to embody this ancient terror: Goliath of Gath. He was not as impossibly tall as the Nephilim of legend, but he stood far above any ordinary man. His armor heavy, his weapons massive. To Israel's soldiers, he was a living giant, a descendant in spirit, if not in direct bloodline, of the Nephilim themselves. His challenge to Israel echoed the arrogance of the giants of old, daring the armies of the living God to defy him. The encounter between Goliath and David captures in miniature what the Great Flood had already shown in grand scale. Against the might of giants, human strength is nothing. Against their armor, human weapons are weak. But against God, no giant can stand. Goliath mocked and threatened, while the men of Israel trembled like their ancestors who had once said, "We seem like grasshoppers in our own eyes." Yet it was a shepherd boy, armed only with faith and a sling, who stepped forward. David declared that the battle belonged not to sword or spear, but to the Lord. His stone struck true, and the mighty giant fell to the ground, silenced forever. That victory was more than the fall of one man. It was the echo of a much older truth. The Nephilim, no matter how tall, had been swept away in the flood. Goliath, no matter how strong, was brought down by a boy's faith. The message resounds through time. God's justice is greater than size, his power greater than violence, his truth greater than pride. Giants may dominate legends, but they cannot outlast the will of the Creator. To remember the Nephilim and to recall Goliath is to be reminded that the proud will always fall, and the faithful will always be upheld by the hand of God. But the story of the giants did not end with their fall in battle or their drowning in the flood, for ancient tradition says that even after their massive bodies were gone, their spirits remained, and it is here that the mystery of demons begins. Demons are Nephilims. Everyone usually thinks of demons as fallen angels from the great battle of heaven and hell. However, that may not be the full story, because the way demons act seems very different from the nature of the angels who fell. Angels, even when rebellious, are powerful, ordered beings. They were created as spirits of immense strength and knowledge. When they turned away from God, they became the fallen angels, chained in darkness, awaiting judgment. Their fall was cosmic, but their role remains fixed. They are not described as wandering restlessly from body to body or seeking to feed on human weakness. In fact, Angels, even those who rebelled, do not need to possess a human body in order to act. Scripture shows that when they descend to the earth, they are able to appear in physical form, moving and speaking with authority. This is very different from the behavior of demons, who seem desperate to enter human flesh. Demons, on the other hand, behave in exactly that way. In Scripture, demons are pictured as restless, unclean, and hungry. They seek to enter human hosts, to torment, to deceive, and to drag people into despair. They scream when confronted by the presence of Christ. They beg not to be cast out, and they are described as moving through dry places, searching for rest, but finding none. This restless, parasitic nature does not match the dignity, even in rebellion, of fallen angels. It suggests a different origin. Ancient Jewish writings like the Book of Enoch and the Book of Giants give an explanation. The NEPHILIM, giants born of the forbidden union between the Watchers and human women, were destroyed in the flood, but their spirits did not perish. Neither fully human nor fully angelic, their souls had no rightful home in God's order. When their massive bodies drowned, their spirits remained trapped on earth, cut off from heaven and unable to descend to the place of the dead like normal men. These half-born spirits became what we now call demons. This explains why demons act in such a disturbing, unnatural way. They are not majestic beings like angels, even fallen ones. They are twisted remnants, incomplete, forever restless. They crave bodies because in life they had flesh but now are disembodied. They spread violence because in life they devoured men and destroyed creation. They shriek in terror at Christ because they are children of rebellion, but without the strength of their fathers, the Watchers. They are like shadows of giants, reduced to whispers and torments, surviving only in the cracks of a world that God has already judged. The Nephilim remain one of the Bible's greatest mysteries. Their story is brief in Scripture, yet vast in impact, stretching into legends, traditions, and questions that still echo today. We may never know every detail about their height, their power, or the full scope of their deeds, but the message of their existence is clear. They stood as living symbols of what happens when creation rebels against the Creator. Their lives were marked by pride, violence, and corruption, and their downfall came as swiftly as the rising waters of the flood. The giants who once made men feel like grasshoppers could not stand before the justice of God. Their strength became useless, their secrets meaningless, and their pride their own undoing. In their story, we see a mirror for every age. Sin may rise tall, and arrogance may tower like a giant, but both will fall. Against such ruin, the way of salvation is simple. God calls for faith and loyalty. Noah found safety in obedience. David found victory through trust. And every believer today is called to the same truth. Only faith and faithfulness lead to life. Giants may fade, but God's word endures forever. Ancient spirits and forbidden wisdom. What if these banned texts hold truths the church never wanted us to see? And who has the authority to decide what is divine and what must be silenced? If you're drawn to hidden history and spiritual mysteries, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Up next, the Book of Enoch and the angels who defied heaven. What if there were a book that claimed original sin never existed and that humanity's corruption was caused by angels? A book that said the Great Flood wasn't just divine punishment, but a means to wipe out a race of giants who once ruled the earth. And what if it stated that the Messiah never walked among us and never died on the cross? If this sounds heretical, you might be surprised to learn that this book was once quoted by the apostles and revered by early believers. The Book of Enoch, attributed to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, claims to reveal hidden knowledge absent from the Bible. Its themes echo throughout the New Testament, particularly in Jude and Revelation, suggesting that early Christian writers were familiar with its contents. Yet the Roman Church rejected it, and it disappeared from mainstream Christianity, surviving only in the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition. But what secrets does this forbidden book hold? It consists of 5 sections, each revealing divine mysteries: the Book of the Watchers, the Book of Parables, the Book of Dreams, the Epistle of Enoch, and the Astronomical Book. Before we uncover these ancient writings, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Now, let's begin with the Book of the Watchers, the most controversial part of Enoch's lost prophecy. The Book of Watchers. The Book of the Watchers begins with a shocking revelation. 200 angels, led by Semjaza, descended to earth from the heavens. Their mission was to watch over humanity, but instead, they succumbed to desire. They interbred with human women, an act strictly forbidden in the heavenly order, and from this unnatural union were born the NEPHILIM, giants of immense size and strength, who became tyrants and warlords, dominating the earth. This account expands on a brief and cryptic passage in Genesis 6, 1-4, which mentions that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they took them as wives, and that from them were born the Nephilim. But Genesis does not explain who these sons of God were, nor their role in corrupting the world. The Book of Enoch fills in these gaps, presenting a dramatic cosmic rebellion that led to chaos and destruction. The fallen angels did not merely take human wives, they also introduced forbidden knowledge to mankind. According to the Book of Enoch, each of these angels taught dangerous secrets that humans were never meant to know. Azazel taught men the art of war, crafting swords and shields, bringing warfare and bloodshed into the world. Semjaza instructed them in sorcery, opening the doors to magic and forbidden rituals. Barakijal revealed the hidden mysteries of astrology. Kokabel taught them the constellations, leading men to seek power through the stars rather than through God. Shamsiel unveiled the mysteries of the sun and moon, altering the natural order. Unfortunately, what was meant to be divine knowledge became a source of corruption. Instead of enlightenment, it brought violence, greed, and oppression. The Nephilim ruled as cruel giants, plundering resources, enslaving humanity, and even turning to cannibalism when food became scarce. The world descended into chaos, and divine intervention became inevitable. This theme, divine beings imparting forbidden wisdom to humanity, mirrors Genesis 3, where the serpent tempts Eve with the fruit of knowledge, leading to the fall of mankind. But while Genesis attributes sin to human disobedience, the Book of Enoch shifts the blame to supernatural beings, suggesting that evil on earth was not merely a result of human choices, but rather a cosmic war between divine forces. Seeing the devastation, the archangels Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel were sent to capture the Watchers and present their crimes before God. Divine justice was swift. The Nephilim were sentenced to complete destruction. To cleanse the world of their wickedness, God unleashed the great flood, wiping them from existence. The Watchers were imprisoned in the abyss, bound in darkness until the final judgment. Azazel, the chief corrupter, was buried beneath the desert, sealed away in eternal torment. This judgment is reflected in 2 Peter 2:4, which states, God did not spare the angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them to chains of gloomy darkness to be kept until the judgment. The Apostle Jude also references this event, suggesting that early Christians were well aware of Enoch's writings. The idea of angels mating with humans and actively playing a role in corrupting mankind contradicts mainstream Christian theology, which largely attributes sin to human free will. Enoch's supernatural explanation for evil presents a more mystical and complex narrative than the canonical Bible allows. But the fall of the Watchers was only the beginning. Their corruption had set something greater into motion. Was their rebellion merely a precursor to an even greater event? A divine reckoning and the coming of the Messiah? The Book of Parables. The Book of Parables shifts its focus to the future, unveiling a vision of the end times centered around a mysterious figure called the Son of Man. This title, which later became central in Christianity to describe Jesus Christ, has a distinct meaning in the Book of Enoch. In Enochic literature, the Son of Man is portrayed as a celestial being, pre-existent before creation, hidden by God until the appointed time. When he is finally revealed, he comes with divine authority to judge the wicked, establish a kingdom of righteousness, and sit on a throne of glory for eternity. This vision closely parallels Daniel 7:13-14, where a figure like a son of man is granted dominion and an everlasting kingdom by the Ancient of Days. The New Testament echoes this imagery, particularly in Matthew 24:30, where Jesus refers to himself as the Son of Man, who will return in glory. Despite these similarities, there are crucial distinctions between the Son of Man in the Book of Enoch and Jesus Christ in the Gospels. The Book of Enoch presents this figure as an exalted cosmic being who has existed from the beginning but remains hidden until the final judgment. Unlike Jesus, he does not take on human flesh, nor does he suffer for humanity's sins. His role is primarily that of a divine judge who condemns the wicked and vindicates the righteous. Whereas Jesus in Christian theology is both judge and savior, he does not merely execute justice, but also offers salvation, sacrificing himself for the redemption of humankind. The Book of Enoch does not explicitly present the Son of Man as a suffering Messiah. Instead, he is a sovereign figure who appears only at the appointed time to carry out divine justice. This contrasts with the New Testament portrayal of Jesus, who identifies himself as the Son of Man, but first comes in humility, willingly enduring suffering and death before his return in glory. While Enoch's Son of Man represents the fulfillment of divine judgment, Jesus encompasses both judgment and redemption, bringing grace to the world before executing justice at the end of time. This distinction highlights a fundamental difference between the Enochic and Christian eschatological visions. In the Book of Parables, history unfolds in a deterministic manner, leading inevitably to the moment when the Son of Man enacts divine retribution. There is no mention of atonement or personal salvation, only a final reckoning. In contrast, the Christian understanding of history is shaped by the idea of redemption, where Jesus' suffering and resurrection provide humanity with a path to salvation before the final judgment. Could these differences indicate an evolving messianic expectation, where ideas about divine judgment and salvation developed over time? Or do they reflect separate traditions that later converged in Christian theology? Enoch's next vision delves even deeper, revealing a symbolic timeline in which history itself follows a hidden pattern, encoded in divine revelation and waiting to be uncovered. The Book of Dreams. The Book of Dreams is one of the most mysterious sections of the Book of Enoch, containing a series of visions that depict human history in symbolic form. Unlike the previous sections, which focus on cosmic events and divine judgment, this book presents a prophetic timeline of past, present, and future events. Through allegorical imagery, it claims to reveal the rise and fall of nations, divine interventions, and the ultimate fate of the world. What makes this section particularly fascinating is its apocalyptic tone, resembling the prophetic books of the Old Testament, particularly Daniel and Ezekiel. However, it also introduces unique elements that do not appear in the canonical scriptures, leading to speculation about its significance and suppression. The Book of Dreams is divided into two major visions, both given to Enoch as revelations about the fate of humanity. The first dream vision provides a retelling of the events leading up to the Great Flood, focusing on the corruption of the Watchers, the rise of the NEPHILIM, and the eventual destruction of the world. However, it expands upon the biblical account, emphasizing the spiritual consequences of humanity's descent into sin. This aligns with Genesis 6-9, where God sends a flood to cleanse the earth. However, the Book of Dreams suggests that some Nephilim spirits survived, remaining on earth as wandering spirits, an idea that does not appear in the canonical Bible but is referenced in later Jewish and Christian demonology. The second dream vision, often called the animal apocalypse, is the most cryptic and controversial part of the book. It presents the history of Israel from creation to the final judgment, but instead of using traditional historical records, it depicts key biblical figures as animals. Adam and Eve appear as white bulls. Cain is a black bull, while Abel is a white one. Noah is symbolized as a white bull with red horns. The Israelites are represented as sheep, while their enemies, Egyptians, Assyrians, and Babylonians, are portrayed as wild beasts. This vision mirrors the structure of the Book of Daniel, which also uses animal symbolism to represent empires and rulers. However, the animal apocalypse goes beyond Daniel, prophesying a future age when the Messiah, depicted as a great white bull, will restore divine order, vanquishing evil once and for all. If history is written in symbols and visions, then perhaps the Book of Dreams was only a prelude to something even greater. But Enoch's revelations did not stop there. His next vision claimed to unlock the mysteries of the final judgment of all souls. The Epistle of Enoch. The Epistle of Enoch delivers the most solemn and direct warning in the Book of Enoch, a final, inescapable judgment where every soul will face the consequences of their actions. Unlike the earlier sections, which describe celestial events and hidden knowledge, this part focuses entirely on the moral and cosmic fate of humanity. While it shares some similarities with the Book of Revelation, it also presents a distinct vision that diverges from the biblical narrative in key ways. In the Epistle of Enoch, humanity is divided into rigid categories based on righteousness and sin. Those who have followed divine law and lived in purity will be welcomed into God's eternal presence, where they will experience unending joy and divine favor. Their names are inscribed in the Book of Life, and they will inherit a renewed creation free from corruption. This echoes the promises found in Revelation 21:1-4, where a new heaven and earth replace the old. Yet Enoch places a stronger emphasis on predestination. Those deemed righteous were chosen before the foundation of the world. Conversely, the utterly wicked, those who have defied God, oppressed the righteous, and spread evil, will be cast into an abyss of fire, a place of eternal destruction prepared for both them and the fallen angels. This imagery is strikingly similar to the lake of fire in Revelation 20:14-15, yet with a significant difference. The Book of Enoch does not suggest a resurrection of the dead before judgment, as in Christian eschatology. Instead, Judgment appears final from the moment of death, with no possibility of redemption or restoration. However, beyond these two groups, a third category exists, those neither entirely righteous nor completely wicked. Their fate remains ambiguous. Some interpretations suggest they are separated from the righteous, awaiting further judgment, while others propose their punishment is severe but temporary. Unlike the Bible, which introduces the possibility of millennial rule under Christ in Revelation 24-6, the Book of Enoch lacks the concept of a 1,000-year reign, where some may yet be saved or restored. Instead, it presents a more immediate and absolute division of humanity into fixed destinies. This rigid separation in the Epistle of Enoch reflects a different theological outlook from the Bible's depiction of salvation history. The Book of Revelation presents an eschatological process where Christ's return initiates a final opportunity for restoration and renewal before the ultimate judgment. In contrast, Enoch emphasizes an unalterable cosmic order where each soul's fate is sealed and no future kingdom of grace intervenes. Yet, judgment is not the final revelation Enoch receives. His last vision transcends morality and prophecy, venturing into the mysteries of the cosmos itself. In it, he attempts to unveil the hidden laws governing creation, time, and the celestial realms, secrets that had remained concealed since the dawn of existence. The Astronomical Book. The Astronomical Book, also known as the Book of the Heavenly Luminaries, is one of the most enigmatic sections of the Book of Enoch. Unlike previous chapters, which focus on divine judgment and prophecy, this book shifts its attention to the workings of the cosmos, as revealed to Enoch by the archangel Uriel. It presents a detailed vision of celestial mechanics, attempting to explain the paths of the sun, moon, stars, and winds, not as random natural forces, but as elements functioning under divine law. At the heart of the Astronomical Book is its attempt to describe a structured and ordered universe, but many of its claims contradict modern astronomy. It asserts that the sun and moon are equal in size, and that celestial bodies move through heavenly gates, fixed points in the sky, where they rise and set. The book also describes the seasons as being controlled by angelic forces rather than axial tilt or planetary motion. Most intriguingly, it suggests that stars are living entities capable of sinning and being punished if they stray from their divinely appointed courses. This perspective reflects an ancient worldview in which all elements of creation, even inanimate celestial bodies, are deeply intertwined with divine will. One of its most striking features is its promotion of a 364-day solar calendar, which stands in contrast to the traditional lunar-based Jewish calendar. This calendar, described as divinely perfected, was later embraced by the Qumran community, the sect responsible for the Dead Sea Scrolls, suggesting that certain Jewish groups saw it as a means to restore an ancient, divinely sanctioned method of timekeeping. The may have also been a rejection of the Babylonian-influenced lunar system that had been adopted by mainstream Judaism. While many of the Astronomical Book's descriptions appear symbolic, they reflect a broader theological point. The universe is not governed by chance or impersonal forces, but by divine order. In the ancient world, astronomy and theology were deeply connected, and early readers of Enoch may not have viewed these descriptions as mere speculation, but as a revelation of hidden cosmic laws. This belief in a structured, God-ordained universe would later influence both Jewish and early Christian thought. Although much of its cosmology is now considered outdated, the Astronomical Book offers valuable insight into how ancient societies understood time, celestial movements, and the relationship between creation and the divine. Whether read as a sacred cosmology, an ancient attempt at science, or a theological allegory, it remains a fascinating testament to humanity's enduring quest to understand the heavens. The removal of the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch remains one of the most enigmatic and controversial religious texts in history. Once revered by early Jewish and Christian communities, it was gradually excluded from the biblical canon, surviving only within the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition. But why was it removed? The process of Enoch's exclusion was not immediate, but unfolded over time. In the early centuries of Christianity, some influential church fathers, including Athenagoras, Clement of Alexandria, and Tertullian, held it in high regard, with some even advocating for its inclusion in Scripture. The Epistle of Jude even directly quotes Enoch, Jude 1:14-15, demonstrating its influence on early Christian thought. However, by the 4th century, the book had been largely rejected by the emerging Orthodox Christian tradition. The councils of Laodicea and later church synods played a role in solidifying the biblical canon, favoring texts that aligned with established doctrine while disregarding others deemed too speculative or theologically problematic. One major reason for its rejection was its supernatural content, which presented a worldview that differed significantly from the developing theology of the early church. The Book of Enoch describes fallen angels, the Watchers, taking human wives, teaching forbidden knowledge, and producing the NEPHILIM, a race of giants. This narrative added a level of complexity to the problem of sin and evil that differed from the doctrine of original sin, which was gaining prominence in Christian theology. Additionally, its detailed descriptions of the afterlife, where different souls receive varying degrees of judgment, contrasted with the simpler, more uniform vision of heaven and hell that would later dominate Christian eschatology. Another factor in its exclusion was its messianic themes, which introduced the Son of Man as a pre-existent celestial figure long before Jesus' ministry. While some elements of Enoch's messianic vision parallel Christian teachings, others diverge, suggesting a figure whose role is more focused on divine judgment rather than atonement and redemption. The ambiguity surrounding the identity of this Son of Man may have contributed to theological concerns among church authorities, who sought to consolidate a more unified Christology. In contrast, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church preserved the Book of Enoch as part of its biblical tradition. This may be due to the relative isolation of Ethiopian Christianity, which developed independently from the theological and political debates that shaped Western and Eastern Christian traditions. Additionally, Ethiopian Christianity has historically maintained a broader and more flexible approach to Scripture, where the distinction between canonical and non-canonical texts is less rigidly enforced. The fact that Enoch was removed from mainstream Christianity, yet remained a sacred text in Ethiopia, highlights the diversity of religious thought and how different cultures determine what is considered divine revelation. While its exclusion was likely a theological decision, ensuring that only certain narratives about angels, the origins of evil, and the coming of the Messiah were preserved, it may also have been a matter of control, defining the boundaries of what was deemed orthodox belief. Beyond doctrinal concerns, one of the primary reasons for its suppression may have been its radical content. Its cosmology, which describes a structured universe governed by celestial laws, conflicted with emerging Christian and later scientific perspectives. Its apocalyptic vision, which portrays a world dominated by supernatural forces, may have been considered too speculative, even dangerous, in an era when church leaders sought to establish a more structured and rational theology. Whether removed for political, theological, or doctrinal reasons, the Book of Enoch continues to provoke debate offering an alternative perspective on biblical history and the nature of divine justice. The historical and religious context of Jubilees. The Book of Jubilees is a unique and fascinating text, often described as a reimagining of the stories found in Genesis and Exodus. Its primary focus is on the lives of the patriarchs, figures like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and their descendants, who played central roles in God's plan for humanity. These stories, while familiar to many through the Bible, are told in a way that adds new details and layers of meaning. Jubilees was written during the 2nd century before the Common Era, a time of great turmoil for the Jewish people. The nation was under the influence of Hellenistic Greek culture imposed by the Seleucid Empire. Many Jews struggled to hold onto their faith and traditions in the face of foreign pressures. In this context, the Book of Jubilees emerged as a call to return to the roots of their covenant with God, a pure and uncorrupted faith based on strict obedience to divine law. The patriarchs as models of righteousness. At the heart of the Book of Jubilees are the patriarchs, who are portrayed not just as ancestors of the Jewish people, but as shining examples of unwavering faith and obedience. For instance, Abraham, often called the father of faith, is depicted as someone who not only trusted God's promises, but also rigorously observed God's laws, even before they were formally given. According to Jubilees, Abraham celebrated festivals, observed dietary laws, and kept the Sabbath in anticipation of the covenant that would later be formalized with Moses. This portrayal elevates him as a model of perfect obedience. Jacob, renamed Israel, is described in greater detail as the father of the 12 tribes. Jubilees highlights his struggles and triumphs, emphasizing his deep devotion to God and his role in shaping the destiny of his descendants. Through these stories, Jubilees underscores a central theme. God's covenant with the patriarchs is unbreakable, but it comes with the expectation of total loyalty and adherence to divine commandments, sacred time, and divine plan. One of the most distinctive features of Jubilees is its concept of sacred time. The book divides history into a series of jubilees, periods of 49 years, each marked by significant events in God's plan. According to Jubilees, this structure was revealed to Moses by an angel on Mount Sinai. It portrays history as carefully orchestrated by God, with every event occurring according to his divine schedule. For example, the births of key figures like Isaac and Jacob, as well as the giving of the covenant, are all tied to these sacred cycles. By framing history in this way, Jubilees emphasizes that God is in complete control of time and events. Nothing happens by chance. Everything unfolds according to his plan. New details and expansions. Jubilees doesn't just retell familiar biblical stories, it adds new details that give readers a richer understanding of the patriarchs' lives. The book describes the youth of Abraham in greater depth, portraying him as someone who rejected the idolatry of his time and sought after the one true God. It offers additional insights into Jacob's relationships with his sons, particularly the moral struggles that led to the conflict with Joseph. These expansions don't just fill in gaps in the biblical narrative. They serve a purpose. By presenting the patriarchs as ideal figures who lived in strict obedience to God, Jubilees calls its readers to emulate their faithfulness in their own lives. A call to return to the covenant. Jubilees was more than just a historical account. It was a plea to its readers. At a time when Jewish traditions were under threat, the book reminded its audience of their identity as God's chosen people. By focusing on the patriarchs' lives and their unwavering faith, Jubilees encouraged its readers to recommit to God's laws, reject foreign influences, and trust in his divine plan. This emphasis on covenantal faithfulness made Jubilees a powerful text for its time. However, its strict interpretations of the law and additional revelations also set it apart, making it controversial in the eyes of later religious leaders. This controversy would play a key role in its eventual exclusion from the biblical canon. With its focus on the patriarchs and God's divine order, Jubilees offers a compelling narrative of faith, obedience, and the unfolding of sacred history. It's a story that remains powerful, even for those unfamiliar with its theological context. Theological controversies and reasons for rejection. The Book of Jubilees was not simply another retelling of the biblical narrative. It positioned itself as a corrective, claiming to restore and expand on God's original revelations. However, its bold reinterpretations and additions to Scripture put it at odds with traditional Jewish practices and beliefs, leading to theological conflicts that eventually contributed to its exclusion from both Jewish and Christian canons. Conflict with the Jewish lunar calendar. One of the most contentious issues raised by Jubilees was its rejection of the lunar calendar traditionally used by Jewish communities. In the Torah, the lunar calendar serves as the basis for determining the timing of major festivals, such as Passover, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. By contrast, Jubilees advocates for a solar calendar consisting of 364 days, arguing that this system is divinely ordained and aligns perfectly with the cycles of creation. Jubilees criticizes the lunar calendar as a distortion of God's original intention, even going so far as to warn that observing it could lead to the desecration of sacred days. This accusation directly challenged the authority of Jewish religious leaders, who had long upheld the lunar calendar as central to communal worship. By promoting a solar calendar, Jubilees implied that the traditional system was flawed and that those who followed it were straying from God's will. This disagreement over the calendar was more than a technical dispute. It symbolized a deeper divide over who held the authority to define and interpret sacred time. The adoption of the solar calendar by certain sectarian groups, such as the Essenes at Qumran, further heightened its association with separatism and non-conformity, alienating it from mainstream Judaism. Rigid legalism and expansion of the law Jubilees also intensified the legal demands of the Torah, introducing stricter interpretations of Sabbath observance, dietary restrictions, and ritual purity. For example, it prohibited even minimal activities on the Sabbath, such as lighting a fire or preparing food, reflecting an extreme form of Sabbath observance that went beyond the requirements of the Torah. Dietary laws were expanded to include additional prohibitions on consuming blood or certain mixtures of foods. While the Torah provided a framework for holiness, Jubilees sought to enforce an almost unattainable standard of legal purity. This rigidity aligned with the practices of fringe groups like the Essenes, but alienated many Jewish communities who embraced a more balanced approach to the law. Moreover, Jubilees introduced new commandments that were absent from the Torah. For instance, it prescribed specific rituals for certain occasions and claimed that these were revealed by an angel to Moses on Mount Sinai. These additions created tension with established Jewish traditions, as they implied that the canonical Torah was incomplete or corrupted. Religious leaders likely viewed this as a challenge to the integrity of the scriptures and their authority to interpret them. A sectarian tone, Jubilees' exclusivity and insistence on a narrow interpretation of the covenant also set it apart. The book portrayed the Jewish people as the sole recipients of God's favor, emphasizing their separation from other nations and their obligation to remain pure. While this perspective reflected concerns during the Maccabean period, when Jewish identity was under threat from Hellenistic influences, it also contributed to the book's divisive tone. By aligning itself with separatist groups, Jubilees deepened the perception that it was a text for a specific faction rather than the broader Jewish community. Its insistence on rigid boundaries between the righteous and the wicked left little room for compromise, making it less adaptable to a diverse and evolving religious landscape. Tensions with early Christianity. When Christianity emerged, it initially shared some interest in Jubilees due to its apocalyptic elements and emphasis on divine judgment. However, as Christian theology evolved, the book's legalism became a major point of contention. Early Christians emphasized salvation through faith and grace, rather than strict adherence to the law. Jubilees, with its unrelenting focus on legal obedience, was at odds with this emerging doctrine. Furthermore, the book's portrayal of celestial beings, particularly angels, complicated its acceptance within Christian theology. Jubilees elevates angels as central mediators of God's law and keepers of heavenly records, known as the celestial tablets. These tablets contain the divine plan for humanity and record every human action, underscoring the idea that angels play a critical role in enforcing God's will. While angels were respected in Christian thought, their prominence in Jubilees risked overshadowing the direct relationship between God and humanity through Christ. Christian leaders likely saw this as conflicting with their core message and an unnecessary complication to the theology of salvation. A threat to canonical authority. Perhaps the most significant reason for Jubilees' exclusion was its claim to be a divinely revealed text that supplemented and even corrected the Torah. By adding new laws, altering timelines, and expanding on the roles of the patriarchs, Jubilees risked undermining the authority of the established scriptures. Religious leaders feared that accepting it could lead to confusion and division within their communities, especially as they worked to unify diverse beliefs under a single canon. A closing thought, leading to the vision of the end times. The controversies surrounding the Book of Jubilees reveal much about the struggles to define orthodoxy and maintain unity within religious communities. Its exclusion was not merely about theological disagreements, but a reflection of the tension between tradition and reform, inclusion and exclusivity. Yet one must wonder if this text, with its intricate laws and cosmic vision, had been embraced. How might it have shaped our understanding of the divine? To fully grasp Jubilees' profound influence, we must look beyond its conflicts with tradition and explore its vision of the end times, the role of celestial beings, and the divine order it seeks to establish. A vision that continues to intrigue and inspire those who seek deeper insight into God's plan. Jubilees' vision of the end times and celestial order. Building on its focus on strict laws and divine order, the Book of Jubilees extends its message by presenting a grand vision of the cosmos and humanity's ultimate destiny. This vision intertwines themes of the end times, the role of angels, and the restoration of God's eternal covenant, painting a picture of a universe carefully structured and guided by divine purpose. The end times, restoring God's justice. Jubilees looks forward to a time when all of creation will be restored to the perfect order intended by God. It describes the end times as a period of divine judgment, where the wicked will face punishment and the righteous will receive their promised blessings. This isn't just a theoretical idea. It's deeply tied to the lives of the patriarchs, whose stories are used as examples of how to live righteously in preparation for this ultimate reckoning. For instance, Abraham's unwavering faith and obedience are highlighted as the gold standard for all believers. His willingness to follow God, even under extreme circumstances, is presented as the model of faithfulness that the righteous must emulate. Similarly, Jacob's persistence and Joseph's moral integrity offer templates for the kind of lives that align with God's will. This vision of the end times is not just about judgment, but also about hope. It promises the restoration of a perfect relationship between God and humanity, where sin and disorder are eradicated and creation is brought back into harmony with divine intentions. The role of angels and the celestial tablets. In Jubilees, angels play a significant role in maintaining God's order. They are not just messengers, but active participants in enforcing divine law and overseeing the cosmic balance. One of the book's most intriguing ideas is that of the celestial tablets, heavenly records that contain all of God's plans, the laws of creation, and the deeds of humanity. According to Jubilees, angels safeguard these tablets and ensure that God's will is executed precisely. The idea of these records reinforces the belief that every action, from the smallest human deed to the rise and fall of nations, is overseen by divine beings. This adds weight to the moral choices humans make, emphasizing the need for vigilance and adherence to God's commandments. The centrality of angels and the celestial tablets in Jubilees reflects a vision of a highly ordered universe. Everything operates according to God's design, with angels acting as divine administrators and humanity as participants who must align themselves with this order. Sacred time and the eternal covenant. A key aspect of Jubilee's vision is its concept of sacred time, which is tightly linked to God's eternal covenant with humanity. The book divides history into Jubilees, cycles of 49 years, each marking significant milestones in God's plan. This structure is not arbitrary. It reflects a belief that time itself is holy and that human history unfolds according to a divine schedule. In this framework, the lives of the patriarchs and major biblical events are carefully placed within these sacred cycles. For example, the covenant with Abraham, the birth of Isaac, and the journey of Jacob are all positioned as key moments in a preordained timeline. By presenting history in this way, Jubilees emphasizes that God is in complete control, guiding events toward the ultimate fulfillment of his promises. This sacred timeline leads to the restoration of the eternal covenant, a state where humanity lives in perfect harmony with God's laws. In this vision, sin and disorder are eliminated, and the world is restored to the purity and righteousness that existed at creation. This eternal covenant is not just a promise for the future, but a call for believers to prepare themselves by living faithfully in the present. Connecting the vision to life today, Jubilee's grand vision of the end times and the celestial order may seem distant and abstract, but its core message is deeply practical. It challenges readers to consider how their actions align with a larger divine purpose. If every deed is recorded on celestial tablets and every moment is part of God's sacred timeline, how should one live in response? The text invites us to reflect on our relationship with God's laws, our role in the cosmic order, and the hope of a future where righteousness prevails. By framing the present within the context of eternity, Jubilees offers a perspective that is as inspiring as it is humbling, a call to live faithfully not just for today, but in anticipation of a divine future that has been planned since the beginning of time. Reflection on the Book of Jubilees' legacy. The Book of Jubilees presents a vision of faith that is both inspiring and challenging. It reimagines the lives of the patriarchs, portraying them as models of obedience to God's laws. It introduces the idea of sacred time governed by divine jubilees and describes a universe meticulously ordered through God's will, with angels playing an active role in maintaining this celestial harmony. At its heart, Jubilees is a call to live in alignment with God's divine plan, a plan that unfolds through history and culminates in the restoration of all things at the end of time. This grand vision of the end times and the celestial order makes Jubilees unique, but it also contributed to its rejection. Its strict interpretations of the law, such as its advocacy for the solar calendar and its expanded commandments, created tensions with Jewish traditions. Additionally, its portrayal of angels as key mediators of God's will and the celestial tablets recording every human deed made its theology more complex, distancing it from the emerging Christian emphasis on direct relationship with God through grace. Despite being excluded from the canon, Jubilees leaves us with profound insights. Its portrayal of the patriarchs challenges us to reflect on what it means to live righteously. Its concept of sacred time asks us to consider whether our lives align with the rhythms of divine purpose. And its vision of a cosmic order where every act is significant and history moves toward a final restoration invites us to see the world through the lens of hope and responsibility. Jubilees ultimately raises a thought-provoking question. If every moment of history is part of God's plan, what role do we play in that unfolding story? The book's vision may feel distant or unfamiliar, but its core message, that faithfulness to God's laws and trust in His plan lead to restoration, remains deeply relevant. Perhaps Jubilee's exclusion from the canon was not the end of its story. Instead, it serves as an invitation to engage with its message, to consider the weight of our choices, and to reflect on our place within the grand design of creation. Its cosmic perspective reminds us that while the world may seem chaotic, everything unfolds under the watchful eye of a God who is both just and merciful. What could be more encouraging than that? Of course, you've heard of the Bible, the sacred text of Judaism and Christianity. But what if I told you there's another hidden system of knowledge, a mystical tradition that claims to reveal the deepest secrets of God, the universe, and the human soul? This is Kabbalah. Kabbalah challenges almost everything we think we know about the soul, angels, even Adam and Eve. It teaches that the soul doesn't face final judgment, but is reincarnated again and again across lifetimes, that angels aren't messengers of God, but manifestations of sacred energy, and that Adam wasn't just the first man, but a cosmic being shattered across existence. And here's the most controversial part. Salvation, according to Kabbalah, doesn't come from God's grace, but through enlightenment, meditation, and spiritual discipline. In other words, you don't need divine intervention. You just need to unlock hidden wisdom. Now, here's where things get interesting. While some believe Kabbalah holds the key to divine wisdom, the Catholic Church sees it as dangerous, a heresy that distorts the truth. They warn that diving into these hidden teachings could lead people astray, trapping them in a maze of forbidden knowledge. Curious to learn more? Make sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on our deep dive into God's most fascinating secrets. So, is Kabbalah a path to divine truth, or just a labyrinth with no escape? Let's find out. God is more than a creator. In Kabbalah, God is not just the creator. He is the universe itself and far beyond it. Unlike the personal God of the Bible, Kabbalah describes a divine force so vast, so limitless, that no human mind can ever truly grasp it. This is Ein Sof, the infinite, the endless. But even the word endless fails to capture his true nature. Ein Sof is beyond time, beyond space, beyond anything we can imagine. It is the source of all creation, yet forever beyond human reach. Since God's true essence is unknowable, Kabbalah teaches that he reveals himself in ways humans can perceive. This is where the Sephirot come in. 10 emanations of divine power that act as a bridge between the infinite and the world we live in. Imagine if God were the source code of a complex program, something too intricate for us to comprehend. The Sephirot would be like the computer screen, the icons, and the user interface that allow us to interact with the system. Through them, God interacts with creation, though his real form remains hidden in the depths of the unknown. This vision of God clashes sharply with the biblical view. In the Bible, God is personal. He speaks to prophets, makes covenants, and commands his people. He is separate from creation, watching over it like a ruler over his kingdom. His presence is direct, his actions unmistakable. But Kabbalah strips away these human-like qualities. God is no longer a figure in the heavens, but an all-encompassing force woven into the fabric of reality itself. There is no throne, no voice from the clouds, only an infinite presence stretching across all existence. To know him is not to hear his words, but to seek the hidden paths of the universe itself through practice and enlightenment. The nature of creation. In Kabbalah, creation isn't just a simple act of bringing the universe into existence, but a dynamic process of divine contraction and emanation. It begins with Ein Sof, crown, the infinite, boundless essence of God. To create the universe, God must withdraw or contract his infinite presence, leaving space for creation to unfold. This process is known as Tzimtzum, representing God's willingness to limit himself to allow a finite world to exist. Once this space is made, the Sephirot emerge, 10 attributes of divine energy through which God interacts with the world. These Sephirot represent different aspects of God's nature, such as Keter, crown, Chochmah, wisdom, Bina, understanding, Chesed, kindness, Gevurah, severity, Tiferet, beauty, Netzach, eternity, Hod, glory, Yesod, foundation, and Malkut, sovereignty. Through them, divine light flows into creation, sustaining and shaping the universe. In comparison, the biblical view of creation is much more direct and anthropocentric. In Genesis, God creates the world in 6 days by speaking it into existence. There is no concept of contraction or withdrawal in the Bible. Rather, God's creation is seen as an active, direct command. Creation is a distinct event, and the divine remains separate yet actively involved. Kabbalah, on the other hand, presents a far more metaphysical perspective, where God's contraction to create space for the universe and the manifestation of the Sephirot reflect a continuous flow of divine energy. It's not a one-time event, but an ongoing mystical process, a cosmic relationship that continues to unfold, contrasting sharply with the more immediate and direct act of creation found in the Bible. In summary, Kabbalah presents creation as a continuous dynamic flow of divine energy, while the Bible presents it as a clear, distinct act of God's will. The Kabbalistic angels. In Kabbalah, angels are not the separate, independent beings or messengers we typically think of. Instead, they are manifestations of God's divine attributes, deeply connected to the Sephirot, the 10 attributes through which God interacts with the world. Each Sephira corresponds to an angel that embodies the specific qualities of that divine attribute. For example, Chesed, kindness, is represented by Tzadkiel, the angel of mercy and benevolence. Gevurah, severity, is embodied by Gavriel, the angel of strength, judgment, and discipline, and Tiferet, beauty, is represented by Raphael, the angel of healing and balance. These angels are not independent beings. They are channels through which divine energy flows into the world, helping to shape and sustain reality. The Sephirot themselves act as vessels for divine energy. Just like light passing through a prism reveals the full spectrum, the divine energy moves through the Sephirot, becoming more accessible and manifest in the world through the actions of angels. Each angel reflects a specific facet of God's nature, ensuring that divine energy is expressed in different ways according to the needs of the universe. This understanding of angels contrasts with the biblical view, where angels are seen as distinct, autonomous beings. In the Bible, angels like Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael serve specific roles as messengers or warriors of God, with clear, independent functions. In summary, Kabbalah views angels as expressions of God's attributes, while the Bible depicts them as separate beings with distinct roles. The Kabbalistic Adam. In Kabbalah, Adam and Eve aren't seen as the literal first humans. Instead, they represent divine principles that show the essence of human existence. Originally, humanity existed as Adam Kadmon, an androgynous being that contained both masculine and feminine energies. This unity symbolized the divine wholeness before these energies were separated. After the divine contraction, Tzimtzum, and the emergence of the Sephirot, divine attributes, Adam Kadmon split into two beings, Adam and Eve. They are representations of duality forces, the balance between opposites, a key idea in Kabbalah. Adam is associated with Chochmah, wisdom, the masculine energy representing creativity and divine intelligence. Eve, on the other hand, is connected to Bina, understanding, the feminine energy, which symbolizes the nurturing force that transforms wisdom into practical understanding. They represent masculine and feminine energies, active and passive forces, wisdom and understanding, creation and nurturing, strength and tenderness, intellect and intuition, spiritual insight and emotional depth, and action and receptivity. In this view, Adam and Eve are not just the first humans. They represent opposing forces that rely on each other for balance and existence, much like the concept of yin and yang in Eastern philosophy. In contrast, the Bible's version of Adam and Eve focuses more on their literal existence and their fall from grace in the Garden of Eden. Their disobedience, eating the forbidden fruit, leads to sin and is seen as the root of the human condition. The reincarnation. In Kabbalah, reincarnation, or Gilgul, is seen as more than just a cycle of rebirth. It's viewed as a form of spiritual entrapment. The soul, after leaving one body, is caught in an endless loop of reincarnation, unable to break free unless it achieves spiritual enlightenment. In this view, the soul remains trapped in the cycle, returning again and again to new bodies until it reaches a state of spiritual clarity and enlightenment. The soul's ultimate goal is to reunite with God, but this can only happen once it has broken free from the endless cycle of rebirth. This cycle of reincarnation is not simply a natural part of existence. Each time the soul reincarnates, it carries the burden of past mistakes and unresolved spiritual tasks. The soul is given multiple opportunities to correct its actions, complete its unfinished spiritual work, and elevate itself closer to divine unity. However, unless the soul experiences a profound awakening, a deep spiritual realization that transcends its previous limitations, it remains caught in the cycle, unable to achieve the spiritual purity needed to return to God. This concept of reincarnation in Kabbalah shares similarities with the ideas in Hinduism and Buddhism, where the soul is trapped in samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. In Kabbalah, the soul can only escape the cycle of reincarnation once it reaches Devakut, a state of union and closeness with God. In contrast to the Bible's more linear view of life, death, and judgment, Kabbalah teaches that the soul's journey is an ongoing spiritual struggle. It must strive for constant purification and divine connection. Each life provides a new opportunity for the soul to grow spiritually until it achieves the enlightenment required to break free from the endless cycle of reincarnation and reunite with the divine. In summary, Kabbalah views reincarnation as a spiritual entrapment that the soul must break free from. Unlike the Bible's perspective of a one-time judgment after death, Kabbalah sees life as a continuous journey of spiritual growth, where the soul is given multiple chances to purify itself and ultimately reunite with God. The Kabbalistic way. The practice of Kabbalah is not merely an intellectual pursuit, but a spiritual discipline focused on deepening one's understanding of God, the universe, and the self. It involves a lifelong commitment to personal transformation and spiritual refinement, where the goal is to align oneself with the divine light. Those who follow this path seek higher consciousness and a more profound connection with God, using the teachings and practices of Kabbalah to guide them on this journey. At the core of Kabbalah is study. A Kabbalist must dedicate themselves to learning sacred texts like the Zohar and Sefer Yetzirah, among others. These texts are not just read, but deeply meditated upon and internalized. Understanding Kabbalah is a gradual process, where hidden meanings and divine truths are revealed over time. This intellectual journey prepares the mind and heart for the deeper spiritual insights hidden within the words and symbols of the texts. Alongside study, meditation plays a crucial role in Kabbalah. It's through meditation that a practitioner connects with divine wisdom and refines their soul. Meditating on divine names, the Sephirot, and the Tree of Life allows the Kabbalist to gain spiritual insight and a greater understanding of the hidden dimensions of existence, unlocking the flow of divine energy and wisdom. Ultimately, the practice of Kabbalah is about more than learning or meditating. It's about aligning oneself with the divine will and living a life that embodies spiritual elevation. By following this path, a person can transform their soul, deepen their connection with God, and contribute to the ongoing spiritual evolution of the universe. The ultimate goal is to transcend the cycle of reincarnation, achieving Devakut, a state of spiritual union with God. In conclusion, Kabbalah is a comprehensive path that integrates study, meditation, self-improvement, and community support, guiding individuals towards spiritual refinement and a deeper connection with the divine. Through these practices, the Kabbalist can not only transcend the cycle of rebirth, but also participate in the repair of the soul, ultimately uniting with God. Meditation. Meditation is a core practice in Kabbalah aimed at deepening the practitioner's connection with the divine and gaining insight into the hidden layers of reality. Kabbalistic meditation revolves around contemplating divine names, the Sephirot, the 10 divine attributes, and the Tree of Life, symbols that represent the structure of the cosmos and the flow of divine energy. By meditating on these, the practitioner aligns their soul with divine light and becomes a channel for spiritual energy. One common meditation practice focuses on the divine names, especially YHWH, the sacred name of God. These names embody God's attributes and powers. The Hebrew alphabet itself is deeply spiritual, with each letter carrying unique meaning. Meditating on these letters unlocks their hidden spiritual forces, enhancing the practitioner's connection to the divine. Another key meditation technique is contemplating the Tree of Life, a diagram of the Sephirot, arranged in a pattern that reflects the divine order of creation. Meditating on the Tree of Life taps into the divine energy that flows through the universe. Each sephirah represents an aspect of the divine, such as wisdom, understanding, mercy, and justice. Focusing on each sephirah helps the practitioner internalize these divine qualities and cultivate them in their own life. Contemplating divine light, or Ein Sof, is also central to Kabbalistic meditation. God's light is infinite and beyond human comprehension. But through meditation, the practitioner can experience this light and connect with God's unknowable essence. This practice immerses the practitioner in divine light, illuminating the soul and guiding it towards spiritual awakening and union with God. Through these practices, Kabbalistic meditation purifies the mind and soul, helping the practitioner experience a deeper, more intimate connection with the divine. This direct experience refines the soul, bringing the practitioner closer to Devakut, the ultimate union with God. In summary, meditation in Kabbalah is not merely about relaxation or stress relief. It's a profound practice that transcends the physical world, facilitating a direct experience of the divine. By meditating on divine names, the Sephirot, and the Tree of Life, the Kabbalist enters a state of spiritual awareness that fosters growth, healing, and a deeper connection to God. Nature of the evil. In Kabbalah, evil is not seen as an independent opposing force to God, as it is in many religious traditions. Instead, it is viewed as a natural consequence of the dualistic nature of creation. Kabbalah teaches that God is all-encompassing, the source of all light and goodness. However, the existence of evil is necessary to understand and define good. Without evil, there would be no contrast, and the moral choices humans face would lack meaning. Each of the Sephirot in Kabbalah has a corresponding evil or negative energy associated with it. These are the klipo that obstruct the divine light within each Sephirah. For example, Keter, the divine will, has a corresponding klipa that represents darkness and hopelessness. Chochmah, representing wisdom, has a klipa that causes confusion and mental blocks. Bina, representing understanding, is affected by a klipa that leads to ignorance and misunderstanding. Chesed, the force of kindness, can be distorted by a klipa that causes selfishness and overindulgence. Yesod, the foundation, is obstructed by spiritual instability. Malkut, representing the physical manifestation of God, is blocked by entrapment in the material world. These klipo represent spiritual blockages that prevent the soul from receiving divine light, and they manifest as negative traits and energies that must be overcome through spiritual practice. Each of the Sephirot also has corresponding angels that help channel divine energy, but there are demons or evil forces that oppose these angels. For instance, Keter is associated with the angel Metatron, but its opposing force is Satan. Chochmah is represented by the angel Raziel, while its opposing force is Raziel. Bina is connected to the angel Safkiel, but is obstructed by Asmodeus. Yesod is linked to the angel Sandalphon, but its opposite is Leviathan. Malkut is embodied by the angel Malkiel, with its counterpart being Lilith. These klipot and demons obstruct the divine light and hinder spiritual growth. However, Kabbalah does not see evil as permanent or irreversible. Through the process of spiritual rectification, tikkun, the soul can cleanse itself from these spiritual impurities and return to alignment with divine light. Evil, therefore, is not a permanent force, but something that exists temporarily in the process of spiritual growth. The ultimate goal of Kabbalistic practice is to transcend evil, overcome its negative influence, and reunite with the divine light. In conclusion, Kabbalah offers a mystical and esoteric understanding of God, creation, and the soul's journey. Unlike traditional teachings, it views God as an infinite, unknowable essence that manifests through the Sephirot, divine attributes shaping the universe. Kabbalah reveals that the world is an ongoing flow of divine energy through the Sephirot, continually sustaining and transforming creation. Kabbalah's view of reincarnation presents each lifetime as a step towards spiritual perfection and union with God. Through spiritual practice, meditation, and ethical living, Kabbalah provides a framework to align with divine will and heal the soul through tikkun. It teaches that evil is not permanent, but a temporary challenge, a necessary counterpart to good that can be transcended. Ultimately, Kabbalah is about spiritual enlightenment, understanding the hidden truths of existence and returning to the divine light. By following this path, individuals can unlock the mysteries of the universe and their own soul, forging a deeper connection with the divine and contributing to Tikkun Olam, the repair of the world. If you found this exploration into Kabbalah intriguing, like this video and subscribe for more profound insights into the mysteries of existence.
You are watching The Bible Witness.
The night I was born, everything was quiet. Inside, my mother screamed on the bed. She was sweating and in pain. The midwife tried to calm her. My father looked away. His face was tight. He didn't want to see what was happening. My mother clenched her teeth, her eyes shut. Her neck was stiff. She was pushing. Then, the midwife leaned down. Her eyes opened wide. A strange light was rising from between my mother's legs. My mother stared. The light hit his face. He looked like he didn't know what to believe. My mother opened her eyes. She was gasping. The light was on her face. She looked confused. The light moved up the wall. No one said anything. The room was silent. I was glowing. The midwife held me. I was crying. Her hands were shaking. My father and the midwife stared at me. Their faces were pale. They were scared. I lay wrapped in cloth. My body was glowing. My hair was white. I kept crying.
Half-breed. Half-breed. What did you do?
Nothing, I swear.
You cheated me with one of them, weren't you?
No, I would never do that. I swear.
My father looked down. His eyes narrowed. He still didn't know what to think.
You have to believe me.
My father grabbed a knife. His knuckles turned white. He was ready to use it. He raised the knife. His eyes were wide. He was going to kill me. My mother was terrified. Her eyes were wide, her mouth open. She couldn't move. I stayed still in her arms. Suddenly, a bright light flashed. It filled the whole room. Everything went white. When the light faded, he was there. A man with wings, black feathers. His eyes were cold. A watcher was standing in my parents' home. My father backed into the wall. He dropped the knife. His arms hung at his sides. My mother held me close. Her body was shaking. She looked up at the winged man. The midwife had fallen to the floor. She looked pale. Her arms pushed against the ground. The winged man looked at me. His face didn't change. He watched me carefully.
Interesting.
My mother didn't move. She had pulled herself into the corner. Her arms were tight around me, but I felt her fear.
I'll take care of him from now.
He stood tall, holding me. Light covered us. No one moved. Then we were gone. The room was empty. I had been taken.
Many years ago, 200 watchers were sent down from the sky by God. We came to live among humans. When we arrived, the women had ever seen beings like us. Our mission is fall in love with the daughter of men. Soon, we had the Nephilims, born from both heaven and earth. The Nephilims grew up strong and kind. They helped people in need. Thanks to them, people who once suffered could now celebrate together. In the end, we build a strong world that has no sorrow or injustice.
Father, then why can't I ever leave the palace?
Oh, little boy. Because not all humans are grateful. Some fear our power. They might try to hurt you.
What he said terrified me.
Sleep now. You're safe here.
I crawl onto the warm bed, hope the fear will go away. When I was asleep, he left the room. It felt like walking inside a dream. A mist hung over me, so thick it erased the world, leaving only light and breath. Then I saw him. Far ahead, a man stood motionless, cloaked in gray. I knew he had come for me. Enoch, my ancestor, the one who walked with God and vanished.
You must build a vessel, not for now, but for what's to come. This world will be destroyed because of corruption.
The mist broke open, and there it was I see, a great ark carved from wood, resting between the peaks. I couldn't speak more, for he was already leaving. Enoch stepped into the fog, fading with each pace until there was nothing. I gasped and jolted upright, my chest still heaved, but the vision was gone now. Candlelight flickered around me, warm and golden, and the perfume of roses clung to the air.
You spaced out again, Noah.
Sorry, just bad dreams lately.
Nightmares. Stop being so human.
The hall glittered, overflowing with wine, flesh, music. The others were radiant, too perfect, too loud.
What's wrong being a human?
He didn't answer because a servant wheeled in another tray, silver glinting under soft light. One of them slammed a fist onto the table, roaring with laughter. Their joy felt theatrical, almost ritualistic. I remained still, hands flat on the table as if movement might trigger something worse. A servant approached, head bowed. His hands trembled slightly as he placed the silver dish before me. I looked down and froze, my breath locked in my throat. There, staring back at me, was a human eye, perfectly intact, resting in a bed of glistening red flesh.
What is this from?
This female human has beautiful eyes, isn't she?
The room tilted. I stood abruptly, chair scraping, heart hammering against my ribs.
This world will be destroyed because of corruption.
I ran, not thinking, not breathing, just fleeing the laughter, the stares, the monstrous elegance. They are feasting on humans' flesh. The thought wouldn't stop echoing in my skull as I stumbled out of the banquet hall. Then a tall figure stepped into my path. Calm, steady. His black cloak grazed the stone, wings of dark feathers gleaming in the torchlight. My body collided with his, knocking him back a step. It was Semjaza, my father.
Noah, what's going on?
It's all lies. You lied to me.
I slapped his hand away, the one that once steadied me when I was small. I turned and ran, the ache in my chest louder than my footsteps. He didn't follow. He's standing there, frozen, eyes searching the space I had just vanished into, like my words had shattered something in him too. But I couldn't stop, because now I knew what they were, and I could never be part of it again. Later, a Nephilim friend told me what happened after I ran, when Semjaza stepped into the hall. He entered without a word, the room folding into silence around him. He stood at the threshold, still as stone, eyes fixed ahead as if he already knew what he would find. The banquet had collapsed into chaos. Dishes knocked over, wine spilled, and at the center, untouched, lay the human skull. Semjaza crossed the room swiftly, the hem of his cloak trailing like smoke, his steps growing harder with every stride. The black wings on his back shimmered faintly, catching the candlelight as his fury took shape. He slammed his hand down with such force that goblets jumped, the sound cracking through the room like a judgment. One shattered at once, the wine flooding across the silver and bone like a wound reopened.
Who did this?
The Nephilim stood frozen, gaze fixed ahead like a child awaiting punishment. Someone lowered his eyes, unable to meet his commander's stare. Another stepped back quietly, the scrape of their foot barely audible beneath the weight of silence.
Answer me.
A young woman glanced away, jaw clenched, her face a mask of pride and fear. He stood in the middle of it all, the skull, the spilled wine, the shattered reverence. Then he tilted his head back, like searching the ceiling for answers or strength.
Noah saw this, and now he's gone.
He raised one hand and pointed to the great door.
All of you, find him, bring him back.
And they obeyed. Plates still half full, goblets still warm. They fled like shadows torn from flame. Semjaza was left alone in that glowing ruin, a king among bones, drowned in candlelight and silence. The sun was merciless. Every step sank into burning sand, my shadow dragging behind me like something half dead. I raised a hand to block the glare, squinting through the white blaze of heat, hoping for nothing, expecting less. From the top of a ridge, the horizon broke open, and in the distance, movement, structures, chains. I knew before I understood. A mine, carved into the desert like a wound. People, not stone, were being torn from the earth. The humans, chained, bent, beaten. Warriors in black armor loomed above them on monstrous beasts, faceless beneath glowing red eyes. One man, too old to bear it, dragged a cart half his weight. A lash struck his back. From above, a soldier raised his whip again, silhouetted against the sun, a god of cruelty cast in iron and heat. I dropped behind a rock, breath shallow, eyes wide. The heat no longer stung, not like what I was seeing. I looked back once, just once. Sweat traced down my cheek, but I felt frozen, like something inside me had cracked. Then I moved. I ran without thinking, without aim, only away. Away from the truth I couldn't unsee, I fled into the desert, my figure shrinking beneath the sun. The mine faded behind me, but its silence stayed, louder than any scream. The light was fading. My steps faltered, dragging through soft sand, and my shadow leaned long beside me. Like it, too, was trying to leave me behind. My knees gave way, one hit the sand, then both. My hands caught my fall, trembling, but there was nothing left to hold on to. I kept my head down. The sky was too far. My eyes burned, then dimmed. My breath rasped, shallow and hot. Sweat crawled down my face, slow as the sun sinking behind me. Then I fell. I drifted into a silence so complete it seemed older than sound itself. A silver fog pressed in from all sides, soft and infinite. And then I saw him. Enoch. He stood with his back to me, still. The white fields stretched out forever.
In the beginning, God sent 200 angels to help human build their civilizations.
Then I saw the vision. From above, they descended, wings of black flame. And when they landed, the earth accepted them like it had no choice. Ted.
They were called the Watchers.
I saw him, Semjaza, and a strange woman I had never ever saw,
led by Semjaza. They found the daughters of human are beautiful, so they broke the law of heaven and begot the Nephilim. Time to time the Nephilims groaned, then enslaved humankind.
Men bent to the earth by force, digging out a future not their own.
And they brought corruption into this world.
The ruling had become instinct.
They were not meant to rule.
They stood in sunlight, the height of glory, and yet there was no warmth left in his shape.
And the world became a prison. Remember this, Noah. You must build a vessel.
His gaze didn't blink. It was a farewell, one I wasn't ready for. And then, like smoke, he was gone. And I was left in that vision with too much questions and not enough strength. Not yet, but soon. I don't remember collapsing, only waking to the feeling of shade and someone's hands checking if I was still breathing. I woke up in a quiet tent, the air warm, her face nearby. She didn't speak, just watched to make sure I was all right. A woman I didn't know had saved me. She smiled when I opened my eyes. It was the first kindness I had seen in a long time. The village was old and rough. People moved carefully, glanced at me like I didn't belong. I tried to greet someone. He turned away without a word. Another woman avoided me completely. Their silence said enough. I started building the ship. There was no ceremony, just quiet determination. People laughed. They didn't understand why I was doing this. I worked alone, cutting and measuring, trusting what I saw in the vision. Their stares were sharp, full of judgment. Still, I kept going. Piece by piece, the ship took shape. I didn't stop to explain. She stayed by my side. Every night, we sat in silence and looked up. The mast went up. It felt like something was becoming real. People kept whispering behind my back, but they no longer mattered. We got married without celebration, just two hands and quiet agreement. At night, we shared warmth in the dark. She was my peace. Then came our kids, crawling across the floor, touching everything. They ran through the yard, laughing, full of life I hadn't known I needed. I feel happiness the first time in my life. The ship stood tall, almost finished. One day, it will serve a purpose. Then one day, they came without warning, riding beasts armored in black, shadows spilling out from the forest like a flood. Nephilim, the same blood I once sat beside at their tables, now stormed the gate of our village, axes crashing into wood. People screamed and scattered. A man bolted down the main path, eyes wide with panic. They chased him, blade raised, like a predator enjoying the hunt. The Nephilim struck hard from behind, swift and merciless. I saw the man collapse, blood soaking into the dust. A woman screamed as she was dragged across the courtyard by her hair, her feet scraping the dirt. A Nephilim kicked down a cottage door like it was nothing more than paper. One of them jabbed at a child with the butt of a spear. The boy couldn't have been more than 5. They herded prisoners through the burning village, chains of the living walking past the dead. I stood frozen for a breath too long, then reached for the axe by our door. My hands shook, but I had to move. One of them burst into my home, sword raised, his eyes wild, like I was just another target. I swung first, pure instinct. The blade caught his shoulder, but he didn't fall. His fist hit like stone, slamming into my chest and knocking the air from my lungs. I hit the ground hard. Dirt filled my mouth. I couldn't move. I had built a home here. I had believed we were safe, but the storm had found us. Their grip was iron around my arms as they dragged me down the marble corridor. They threw me to my knees. The stone floor was cold. My hands were tied behind my back. I didn't resist, not because I was weak, but because I wanted to see his face. From the shadows, he emerged. Semjaza. His cloak glided across the floor like a shadow with weight.
You've grown up.
You lied to me. You said the Watchers came to help, but you enslaved them.
He said nothing, just stared, and that silence screamed louder than any denial could. Semjaza began to circle me like a predator savoring its moment.
You don't understand the cost of chaos. Order requires sacrifice. You murdered innocents. You still see with human eyes. But I offer you something more.
What more?
Your wife, your children, they'll live.
Breath fled my chest in a tight rush.
Come back to us. Lead them.
I stared at his outstretched hand and stayed silent. Every gesture he'd taught me now felt like a lie. Semjaza kept his hand extended, eyes unwavering, as if he believed I wouldn't refuse.
You're afraid of me.
For a heartbeat, his eyes wavered. In that fraction of a second, I knew I was right.
Why? What is it about me that you fear?
You presume too much.
You lied. I can see you tremble.
His brow furrowed. His eyes darkened as if my words pierced deeper than any blade.
You think you are special just because I raised you by my hands? You are nothing but an orphan, not a human, nor a Nephilim.
Then why do you offer me mercy?
You'll learn what defiance costs.
They dragged me into the courtyard, wrists bound, surrounded by Nephilim guards. I saw familiar faces turn toward me, not in welcome, but dread. My wife knelt among the villagers, arms around our children, tears clinging to her lashes. She wouldn't look away from me. I wished she would.
Let me reveal the truth about your Savior. He is not one of you. He never was.
A man I'd helped build shelter for frowned and stepped back. I saw suspicion bloom, fast, brittle, like rot in fruit.
Your husband carries Nephilim blood.
My wife stared at him, lips pressed tight, pulling our sons closer. Her eyes never left mine.
He's lying. Don't believe him.
I'll let you deal with them before I kill all of them.
The crowd murmured. Eyes flickered my way, both with fear and hatred. I stood in their silence, more alone than I'd ever been. I took slow steps toward them, my hands still bound, but my eyes searching only for hers. I wanted her to see past the noise, to remember who I was. But she pulled the children behind her like a shield, panic flaring in her gaze. She couldn't meet my eyes. That hurt more than the rope biting into my skin. Suddenly, the sky tore open. Clouds parted as a pure white light struck down. It felt like heaven itself had broken through. The villagers lifted their faces. They saw the light too. 4 archangels descended, their silver-white wings shimmering. They appeared like knights made of sunlight. Behind them, dozens more hovered, a silent airborne army of armored wings and held spears. Semjaza looked up, sweat beading at his temple. His eyes narrowed in panic. I rushed past the onlookers and looked up, wind lifting my hair. I felt that moment inside my chest. Salvation had come. One of the white-winged men landed gently beside me, radiating calm. Light glowed from his armor.
I am Gabriel, sent by the Most High. We have come to seize the Watchers.
Semjaza's trembling became visible. Sweat reddened eyes. The fear I'd exposed now roared to life. He turned and fled, wings straining as he climbed skyward into escaping clouds. 2 warriors of light surged into the sky, their wings cutting through the air like blades. They gave chase to him, the one who once raised me. Now he fled, darkness peeling off his silhouette like smoke. Gabriel rose higher, sword lifted to the east. His gesture wasn't just a command, it was a signal. The heavens were about to tear open. Then they came, the Watchers. They flew like a curse set loose upon the world. Semjaza led them, massive wings spanning wide as blood glowed behind his furious eyes.
Hold the line.
1,000 more followed him, their wings white fire against the sky, ranks locked, hearts aligned. Across from them, the Watcher's army assembled like a shadowy reflection. Both sides drifted toward one another. Gabriel's silver sword sliced the sky, the first cut in the silence. A dark lance from Semjaza's hand flew in answer, twisting through the air like a scream. The villagers shrank back, their eyes lifted in silent terror toward the war unfolding above. I looked up, the flickering brilliance of swordlight catching in my eyes. Gabriel clashed with Semjaza, the blade of dawn against the blade of night. Sparks screamed as steel met steel, wings spiraled, blades flashed. The heavens became a whirl of fury, light battling shadow in a sky that no longer belonged to man. A soldier of light, wing torn and eyes wide with panic, tumbled from the fight. Gabriel struck again, his blade carving a line through the chaos, a motion as graceful as it was lethal. One of Semjaza's wings was injured. He began to fall, spiraling downward like a broken star, swallowed by the blinding storm of battle. His scream was silent over the roar. Black feathers rained around him like ash, his face frozen in a terror I'd never seen in him before. The mighty had fallen. The Watchers lay crushed beneath the weight of judgment, their once mighty forms pinned by scarlet vines. Around them, the archangels moved with somber finality. Gabriel pulled the cord tight, and I could hear the snarl of pain as thorns dug into celestial flesh. Their rebellion had come to this. He collapsed, wings torn and spirit broken, held down by those who once called him brother. Even the great fall hard. I stepped forward, my shadow crossing his broken frame.
So this is why you feared me.
His teeth clenched, fury blazing in his eyes.
You fear of me, yet you couldn't kill me, because you knew. This day was prophesied.
He looked at me by a look I didn't expect.
No, I can't kill you because I care about you.
I didn't expect this. He really cared about me? Gabriel came beside me, his hand resting gently on my shoulder. And so Semjaza, along with his kin, was led into chains, their reign broken, their fate sealed beneath heaven's decree. I kept chopping, each strike echoing louder than the last, chips of wood falling like the time I no longer had. Behind me, I could feel their disgust. I heard the spit hit the dirt. Then the jeers turned to action. Someone hurled an egg. It exploded behind me on the hull. I didn't turn, didn't give them that. A woman stared at the ark like it was a sickness, like I was the one who brought it here. Mud clung to my face. I closed my eyes just for a second. I opened them to see a young man climbing the side of the ark. He smashed a rail with his bare hands like it meant nothing. I walked over and picked up the broken piece myself. A crowd stood back in the shadows. They didn't speak, just stared. I stood alone before what I had built, its shadow stretching across the ground. But then I saw her, my wife. Her hand rested on the ark, her eyes steady. And beside her, our son reached out, fingers tracing the planks I had shaped with my own hands. After the Watchers fell, the Nephilim no longer hid behind masks of restraint. From a ridge above the stone square, I watched them marshal their strength. Rows of towering warriors drilling in silence that trembled the ground. Spears clattered into wagons already brimming with steel, and chained villagers bent low under their boots. They became infinitely more brutal. The people under their rule were forced to endure unimaginable torment. When they raised their weapons and howled into the sky, it wasn't celebration, it was a declaration. They were preparing to march, to swallow every free land left under the sun. And I realized, the fall of the Watchers wasn't the end, it was the beginning.
Please, the flood is coming.
I tried to convince them, But they just stood there. My words fell on stone.
You don't have much time.
A man broke from the group, his brows drawn low as he looked up at me with something darker than doubt.
Why would we trust a Nephilim?
I staggered back, the echo of that word ringing louder than thunder. My eyes searched theirs, but found only silence. One by one, they turned away, their footsteps like a funeral procession retreating into the dust. I was left alone, just me and the rising shadow of the ark behind me. I stood alone in the open field, arm lifted toward the ark's mouth, now yawning wide beneath the darkening sky. I was waiting for the animals to come, and then, as if summoned by something older than language, they came. The ground shuddered beneath the steps of all the animals, moving in pairs like echoes of some forgotten rhythm. I held the railing as they passed, not guiding, only witnessing. A pair of deer ascended the ramp, heads bowed, bodies calm. Bears lumbered by, their soaked fur gleaming with heat. An eagle landed on my forearm and tilted its head toward the ark, unafraid. 2 phoenixes circled above, their red wings catching the last shards of gold light. A lion paused at the top of the ramp, staring into the ark's dark hollow before entering, solemn as a king into exile. Inside, they lined up without protest, their silence more holy than any chant I'd ever heard. And I stood in the doorway, the ark at my back, and looked to the sky. The clouds were shifting. The color of the world was changing. I said nothing. There was nothing left to say. A farmer standing nearby when his shovel halted mid-swing. His hand froze. Something in the air had changed. Their eyes lifted, drawn by the sheer weight of dread pressing down. Even the Nephilim, usually so smug, turned his head skyward. He saw it too. A wall of water, monstrous and real, had risen from the horizon. The sky bent over it like it was bowing. It towered, vast as a mountain, casting a shadow over the sea, rolling forward with a force that would erase everything. The statues they built, stone idols and marble columns, crumbled first under the flood's roar. Houses, horses, people, it took all, and didn't pause to grieve. The hills we once feared for their height were swallowed like pebbles. Villages cracked apart like dry clay. The flood moved like a judgment, like a hand laid flat across the world, erasing every defiance. The Nephilims watched, and in their mirrored helmet I saw the light of doom. But our ark, it rode the waves as it was made for it, wood groaning as the ocean lifted us beyond reach. The sky opened with light. From behind us, the sea split in white foam as if we were tearing open the skin of the world. I stood still by the railing. My cloak flailed in the wind. My face caught the faint glow from above. I stared forward, not in triumph, but in mourning for all that now lay beneath the deep.
Giants appear in stories from every culture. We see them as the Titans in Greek myths, Jotuns from Norse sagas, the Kinametsin from Native American legends, and even in modern urban tales like the Giant of Kandar who fought American soldiers. They stand as towering